Hello everyone, this is Vatsal Rathod, and today I'm going to speak about types of dataset. So, what are the different types of dataset? So, there are three major types of datasets: record, graph, and order. So, record dataset is a type of dataset that treats several different pieces of data as a single unit, and each unit has fixed number of attributes. Then comes the order dataset. So, in order dataset, dataset and attributes have some kind of relationship, and it involves time and space. Then comes the graph dataset. So, in graph dataset, each all the data is linked to each other using some kind of linkage or bonds. So let's dive deeper into each one of them. So before we learn more about each data set, let's discuss the important characteristics of the dataset. So there are four major characteristics, that is dimension, distribution, sparsity, and resolution. So what is dimension? It is basically the number of attributes that the dataset has, and the more it should not be more and it should not be less. If it's more, then it will become difficult to analyze, and if it is less, then to predict a particular attribute, it will be very difficult to do so. Then comes the distribution. Even distribution should be it should be normally distributed, and else predicting the doing prediction becomes a bit difficult task. Then comes the sparsity. So sparsity basically defines that each data is important. So even we could use a data set, and it could help us to predict a big picture of from that using by mapping each one of them to the data we have. So each data counts. Then comes the resolution. So what is resolution? Resolution basically the smallest change. So what could be the use? So the use in the data set, the characteristics is basically. So over here you can see there is a speed of a car and the timestamp. So the scale is over here. The scale is 0.1 millisecond, and over here it is 1 millisecond. So the higher the resolution, the prediction will be better. As we can see that in at time 30, 40, 50, we can see that the speed is increasing. But if the scale is the resolution is low, then the prediction would not be that good. So all these four play a very important role and are very important characteristics of the data set. So let's see what are the types. So first, record. So as we discussed, record data set, it treats each data as a single unit. So it has three types. So one is data metrics, document data, and transaction data. So what is data metrics? So if data object has fixed set of attributes, then the data objects can thought as a point of multidimensional space where each dimension represents a distinct attribute. So it says that every data set has a fixed number of attributes, and each attributes specifies the dimension in the data set. So it helps us to explore the data set more in much better way. Then comes the document data. So in this a term vector, a document becomes a term vector. So each term is an attribute of the vector, and the value of each attribute is the number of times the corresponding term occurs in the document. Lastly, there is a transactional database, that is a collection of set of items. So we can consider like transactions happening and the data that is being stored. So there can be multiple records, and it doesn't matter that the symmetry the attributes are symmetric. Like if a person buys a car and if a person buys a mobile, then the record data might be different. So transaction data states that. Then comes the graph dataset. So in this, basically graph dataset states that it is collection of all the data that is on the web, and it is linked using some kind of references. So in web page, each and every we have files, and they are linked to each other using some kind of URL or URLs, and we access them using that URLs. So the whole data set is mapped using the URLs. So we can access through them through this URLs. Then comes the molecular structure. So what are they? So basically, in molecular structures, each structure has a definite structure and has properties. And when we when we go to a small part of that, even that structure follows the same structure and it has same properties. So using this relationship, we can define it using the graph, and we can analyze it and make predictions based on it. Last comes the ordered dataset. So in ordered dataset, as we said, that it involves time and place. So there are 4 types in it. One is spatial. So in spatial, it is based on geographical information. So as we know that if we take a particular data set, then there might be a case where uh, it might be appropriate for a proper for that location only, and might not be the same for other location. So this is one of its type. Temporal data is just an extension of the record data, but it involves time and space. So we can use the what a person is buying, and just with that we can just keep a check of the time and place. So we can use it in ordered data set. Then at lastly comes sequential data. So in this, all the data that is related to stock exchange, user log activities, then the system logs comes under sequential data. So in this, a small logs are maintained of each of the activity that is happening or that is taking place. So that all this comes under the sequential data. And lastly, we have genetic sequence data. So a subtype of sequence data which stores our DNA data and our genetic information, and we can map it using the time and the place we are. So it would be helpful for us in the future. So here comes a question. So as we studied the types of datasets, what are the 3 different types of datasets? So the 3 different types of datasets are record, ordered,